you shared some stories with me about being on city council. There was one where a local reporter used to show up, and then they stopped showing up, and then all of a sudden things were a little bit less buttoned up after the local press stopped
Yeah.
appearing at these meetings.
Well, on the presidential campaign and on the mayoral campaign, you spoke a lot about the importance of local journalism and independent journalism. And it was one of the things that drew me to you back on the presidential because, politicians don't often talk about this topic. And the reason for that is because I experienced it. I was um, the youngest person on city council by far, but I was also for a lot of the time the only Democrat, and it just created a lot of scenarios where um, sometimes I felt like just stuff wasn't getting done on the council, and like you were just saying, when there was a reporter there, at least one, the meeting was an entirely different meeting. No one here watches their city council meetings on TV, like their Spectrum TV, or no one watches it online. No one goes, you know. But if there's someone reporting on it, then people in the community have sometimes a genuine idea of what's happening in their
Or
local
at least
government.
if you were one of the members, you'd be much more buttoned up. You're like, oh shit, my stuff could get recorded.
Exactly. So I felt like whenever a reporter was there, just more would get done. And we'd have better, like, conversations about helping people in our community. And the difference was drastic. And it shows me just how important political accountability is. And despite the experiences that we have had with certain journalists and certain outlets, and I mean, you know,
Well, I find local news to be less ideological, more up the middle. I mean,
right.
you can't really. I mean, the void gets filled, unfortunately, with cable news and nationalized ideological squabbles and Facebook feeds and the rest of it. So I mean, like you said, I mean, we're connected on this, but you were one of the people that let me know. It's like, hey, it's not made up. I mean, this shit is exactly real life.
It's so real. It's so real. And I mean, like, kudos to the journalists and stations in America that prioritize their local councils and governments, because I think it makes a huge difference in what actually gets done for taxpayers and for voters and for
Well,
people.
kudos to them if they're still doing it, because I think that the
Right.
number is that I think something like 60,000 journalists lost their job over the last several years, et
Yeah.
cetera. You're this young rising superstar in the Democratic Party. You get to introduce Bernie at a rally upstate, right?
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, that was sick. Go Bernie.
Yeah, I mean that, like, I was a burner in 16 before I ran. At least I mean, I get the text to prove it.
We all
We
do.
all do.